Just a Skywatch for tonight. Nothing really going on. No, civil unrest mess. So, no Trump rally, none of that. Decided to do something a little different. So I got my night vision camera out and some of my other equipment that I was surprised still worked. And decided to do a Skywatch. I caught a satellite just before I went live, but maybe we'll get another one. Couple planes. It would look better if I was in a darker area, but that's the night sky though, and if you walk outside, you will not see this many stars at one time. You just won't. But with the camera that I've got, it picks it up. Yeah, I've been having a lot of copyright issues and mess on YouTube, so that's why I've deleted all my previous live streams. They're all gone. But I can't use any of those streams. They're all mainstream media, and they'll take me down. I don't know why other channels get by with it, but I never do. I was even told YouTube, Periscope, and all of that's copyrighted. Facebook, every bit of it. So I don't know what I'm going to do as far as streaming goes for the future. I'll figure something out. But yeah, they sent me an email a while back telling me, can't be doing it. Doesn't matter if they're private or not. Makes no difference. If it comes from Facebook or Periscope, then Facebook and Periscope own it. So, makes it kind of difficult. But like I say, I'll figure it all out. I'm still working on it. I didn't want to do anything too complicated. I mean, I just had surgery last week and I really didn't feel like doing a whole lot, but too many mosquitoes and stuff outside, so I decided to throw the night sky up on the camera, and you can see a satellite buzzing by from the right going to the left, kind of diagonal. That's a satellite. What satellite, I got no idea, but nevertheless, I've had this camera for several years. They're pretty expensive if you buy them retail. I think they run about 800 bucks, but I picked this one up pretty reasonable on eBay about, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, and I haven't had any issues with it. Hey, thanks. Yeah, I'll heal up. I'd be healed up a little quicker if I didn't do some heavy lifting the other day and tore a little bit of it open and had to go back to the ER and get bandaged up, but well, it happens. Yeah, normally with this particular camera that I've got, it'll do the video in different colors. You can do your green night vision, blue, or red. But with the capture device I've got, black and white's the only thing that seems to work, which looks the best anyway. Looks real good when there's meteor showers and all that kind of stuff, but my neighbor's got a security light, so it throws a little bit of light and makes it a little blurrier than it should be. But I'll leave it here for a little while, then I'll run out there and adjust the camera. You got to mess with it a little bit because the moon's out and it'll mess with it some. But I've caught all kinds of stuff on these Skywatches before. I think one of my better ones was from a couple years ago when I caught a satellite burning up in the atmosphere. That was pretty neat. I had no clue what it was till I had it, the video looked at by an observatory not too far from me, and they was able to confirm exactly what it was because I didn't know. And sorry I got the fan going in the background, but it's still like 80 some degrees here. Pretty warm. But maybe we'll see something else fly by, a plane or something. One of the weirdest looking things though that I ever caught, and it took me a minute to figure out what it was, but it was a flock of geese. And they look pretty weird because you can make out objects but really not detail. So it looks pretty weird on some of those objects. And you'll get bats and different things flying around. But I try to adjust it the best I can. See if I can make it look any better here. I try to get the brightness down some. Because it looks a little different from my screen to what you see actually on YouTube. As far as UFOs go, nothing on the live stream, on any of these Skywatches, no. But several years ago, I did see an object around here. I don't know what it was. Interesting story, though. This was back, let's see, 2005, 2004, somewhere in that neighborhood. I got it wrote down somewhere. But me and my parents went out to the lake, about, I don't know, 3 miles or so from the house. There was a lunar eclipse. So we went out there to check it out. And I had a cell phone with me. There's an airplane buzzing by. But I had a cell phone with me that I had picked up out of state when I was living down south. It was a Nokia, like the 3310s, the, you know, indestructible things. But it was the colorized version. But anyhow, I bought it but never had it activated. AT&T wasn't here yet, so I couldn't even hook it up here. It was an AT&T phone. So anyway, I had it up here playing game on it, playing some bowling or whatever, I don't know. And we were out at the lake, like I said, and the eclipse was kind of waiting on it. And I saw this fireball, best I can describe it. Looked just like one of the dots you see on the screen, one of the larger ones, but it was, you know, orange. And it came across from our left to our right. And I thought, you know, plane, whatever. Well, anyhow, it got up to the moon and actually blocked out part of the moon. Well, when that object, whatever the heck it was, got in front of us, my phone miraculously got full signal. I called my grandma once, talked to her for a few minutes, and that phone got so hot I had to drop it. Well, a little bit went on, and that object backed up, went forward again. Now, no solar flares, not that I know of, but I would say every 100, 200 yards or so that object got away from me to my right, I would lose a little bit of signal on the phone until it finally quit working. So a few months went by, and they ended up opening an AT&T store in the county south of me. So I took the phone in there, and the guy plugs it in and all that, and it wouldn't work, wouldn't do a thing. Said it was dead. So I never did figure out what the object was, what it could have been, no idea. But that's been my only actual experience of anything that I couldn't explain. Now, I do have my UFO website. If you haven't checked it out, I'll post it here in the chat. I don't know if you can click on it or not. Sometimes that link's kind of weird. It's .us instead of .com. Reason being, .us was 88 cents to buy it. .com was like 80 bucks. I was cheap. So, but the reason I started the whole UFO thing, well, I had an interest in it anyway. But the number one reason was I was involved with other groups and knew how other organizations worked. And that most groups, I don't want to mention any names, but most groups have a rule that I don't like. And that is, if you submit your report and we figure out it's a 747 jumbo jet, couple satellites getting ready to pop up on the screen, there they are. You know, if you submit, like I said, your report, I find out, yeah, you saw a 747 jumbo jet, it was UPS flying over or whatever. I was never allowed to tell the witness. I was banned. We were never allowed to tell anybody what they actually saw. And they had various reasons. They were always afraid mainly that, well, if that person really thought they saw an alien thing, well, they're going to get mad and cause trouble, and I've never ran into that. That doesn't happen. Most people that submit these reports don't even think alien. They're just curious as, hey, I saw something. What was it? You know, it doesn't matter. There's a few people that they might hope it's an alien thing, because that's like pretty cool, you know, but nobody really expects it, even believers. You know, I mean, yeah, sure, I believe in all that kind of stuff. Do I believe every story? No. But is there something out there? I think so. But, you know, the odds of actually seeing it, you know, very small. So people just are curious and they want to know, hey, what did I see? So, you know, I give everybody the best answer I can. And on the website there, if you, on the upper right corner where it says most recent reports, if you click on it, then you'll actually see, I try to leave the main page here for the most recent. I haven't got any reports for a while, but that's the most recent one. Then if you click on the other two, page 2 and 3, then you can read the other reports and see the pictures and or whatever, you know. Or if you want to report one, you know, you've got that option as well. And I don't care where you're from, makes no difference. Now, if you're not from my area, then it may take me a little bit longer to give you some answer, because I'm not as familiar with your area, but nevertheless. But yeah, it doesn't matter. I don't care if you're California, Florida, you know, wherever you're at, Canada, I don't care. You know, if you want to report something, fine, because 99.9% of the time, you know, the event's over with. You've already seen it, so it wouldn't do me any good to be in your area anyway. I can use Stellarium as the main one I use, and I got a few videos on the channel anyway that shows this, but Stellarium, I can set up the night sky, or daytime sky for that matter, for anywhere in the world, for any date that I choose. You know, it doesn't matter. So I can go back 10 years or, you know, whatever, and know exactly what you're looking at and all that type of thing. But if you go on the channel and look, excuse me, I think I've done 4 videos altogether, and I may redo them at some point. But I made a little video series, and I called it How to Be a Good Witness. And what it boils down to is showing different websites, flight radars, Weather Underground, where you can get all the weather information, cloud data, that kind of thing. And, you know, if you go outside at night, or even in daytime for that matter, find you an object in the sky, find an airplane, it don't matter. Write down on a piece of paper everything you think of about it. What direction is it going? The first thing, though, make sure you write down your date and time. That's most important. Otherwise, you know, all your stuff. How high is it? How fast you think it's going? You know, how high are the clouds? What direction? All that type of stuff. You know, all that thing. And then you can go back in, look on your flight radars and the other sites that I show, and kind of check your answers. You do that a few times, you get more familiar with what's actually flying in the sky. And with the flight radars, it'll actually tell you that is jumbo jet, you know, UPS, FedEx, it'll tell you whoever it is, you know. And that way, you do that a few times, like I say, you get kind of familiar with what's actually going on. And as a side note, this is kind of interesting. I actually spoke with the gentleman that wrote this book. This is Central Ohio, just south of Columbus. My backyard. Northeast part of the sky. But there was a gentleman, I got to go back to the video. Give me a second and I'll get you the actual information. But there was a guy that wrote a college textbook through FEMA. FEMA approved it. and it was a firefighter training. I don't say a manual, but if you was taking fire science in college, then this was something would be one of your textbooks you'd use for homework and all that type of thing. And there's actually a chapter in it on firefighters' responses to a UFO crash. And I thought it was the book's very expensive now because it got a almost a cult following as far as the UFO community. But I spoke with the guy that wrote the book, and he wasn't trying to say, I mean, he was a believer, obviously, but he couldn't come across that way in the book because it would have never got approved. Let's see if and I'll put the link in the chat here, but you can look it up. And this is actually the whole chapter 13 of the book. Talks about enemy attack and UFO potential, UFO threat of fact, what to do, you know, all kinds of information. But like I say, the book is well, kind of a cult following and very expensive now. But if you want to read it though, there it is, you can check it out. I actually got the text from another website, but that is the actual word for word text. But that's the firefighter's training manual, but it's a fire science degree that, if I can find the guy's name, it's skipping my memory at the moment. But he taught at the University of Cincinnati here in Ohio. And he's retired now, but they still had his information on their website, and that's how I was able to find him and all that information. William Kramer was the guy's name. That's it, Dr. William Kramer. He was the main author of that. And I thought that was very interesting that FEMA would allow that in one of their textbooks. But speaking of FEMA, well, we know enough about that organization, but I remember in high school, this was back in 99, 2000, around there, the FEMA director, one of them anyway, he came to our school and gave a presentation on disasters and all this, you know, kind of run-of-the-mill stuff. And I talked to the guy after it was over, and he had a thick binder with him, almost looked like a big dictionary. And it was all kind of papers, you know, put in them plastic sleeves. And I said, you know, what's all that? And he says, well, he says, FEMA has a disaster plan for anything you can think of. And he was being dead serious. He says, UFOs, we've got it covered. Everything. He said, there's even stuff that we know for 110% will never happen. Like a Godzilla type. And I started laughing. He said, I'm dead serious. You know, Godzilla, any of that. We know it'll never happen. It's just something from the movies. But by some rare, slim chance that some crazy thing happens, we have to be prepared for it. He said, we do have things in place, you know, but they're not always public, but at least what we'll do on a government level. Not necessarily what we'll do for the public, because FEMA, you know, they can't protect anybody anyway. They're cleanup crew like all other groups are. You know, the fire department can't prevent your house catching on fire, but they'll show up to put it out. So, same idea. But he said, we've got all that stuff in place. More or less, I thought after the fact of, yeah, you figured out how to protect the government and the higher-ups in it, if something were to happen. But nevertheless, they say they have all that stuff in place. And I read a popular, I think it was Popular Mechanics done a magazine article several years ago on alien invasion. You know, what would be our first response? How would we handle everything? Kind of the first 72 hours type of deal. And that was pretty interesting. So government definitely thinks about this kind of stuff. The article was out not long ago. Harry Reid is heavily involved in it, being from, you know, Nevada and all of that. There's the organization, and the guy out there, Bigelow is his last name, and he's the one that gets most of the government contracts to investigate this kind of stuff. But there is a problem I see with this. You always use the excuse of, oh, we can't tell you nothing, it's national security. Whether that's true or not, irrelevant. But I can see the UFO thing being an easy way for the government to hide a lot of money. To use that as a plausible, we're going to get rid of a ton of money type of thing. So, we'll just say it was a UFO project and let it go with that. We was investigating, didn't find nothing. Oh well, we wasted several $1 million. When in all actuality, that Bigelow that got the contract to do the latest investigating is one of Harry Reid's biggest campaign supporters. So, go figure. Nice little payback. Yeah, it's getting hard to stream the Trump stuff anymore. So much copyrights and trying to shut me down. And this, that, and the other. So, they did approve me to give me my money that they owe me. All the donations you guys have been nice enough to give over the last several months. So I should have that probably tomorrow. It was approved, just hasn't been deposited yet. 21st is usually the deposit date on all that. So after that's all said and done, then I'll attempt to do some streaming again of other things. See how it goes. I mean, I'm not saying I don't want to stream just because of money. I don't want it to come across that way, but I don't want Google to end up with money that you guys wanted to go to me. So I got to play things a little cool for another day or so. That's why I thought I would just throw up a Skywatch, because I haven't done one of these for a long time. They're always fun. But yeah, you don't see near as many stars like this when you're actually outside looking up. But the camera picks it all up. I'll post a link in case anybody's interested. Let's see, I'll show you what camera I have. And it's made in Texas, by the way. But they're a lot of fun. They have a newer version than mine out, and it's basically the same camera, except the new one will accept an SD card, so when you're out messing around with it, you can take pictures of what you saw. Mine don't have that option. But I didn't buy it for anything other than to use like for this purpose anyway. So, but they're quite pricey though from the manufacturer. I got mine on eBay, like a couple $100. But I just thought, like I said, I would do something a little bit different for the time being. See what we might see buzz across. Seen a few satellites so far, a couple airplanes, and that's been about it. I usually leave it on a section for a bit and then I'll move it. Just gotta kind of play around where the moon's at. But that's only about a 20-foot section of the sky. So if you had a 20-foot, ruler and held it out at arm's length, that would be about how much of the sky my lens is able to capture at one time. So it's not much, but it works pretty good nonetheless. No, I haven't. I was thinking about actually buying me a time-lapse camera. Is what I'm thinking about getting. I found a decent one on eBay, and it'll run, I think it says it'll run almost 60 days continuous on just a set of AA batteries. So it all depends on how big an SD card, of course, you put in it. But my plans were, if I do get one, my plans were to set it up in my yard, front yard, and do a time lapse of the entire winter. So you can actually watch the progression of snow and when it melts and all that. Do one for like 3 months continuous and see how it turns out. I think that might be kind of fun. Because it puts everything into video format automatically. You don't even have to edit anything, don't have to mess with it. Just throw the SD card in it, set up how long you want it to take pictures every day, all the way down to every couple seconds, whatever you want. And you might have to change SD cards once in a while, of course, but other than that, you really don't have to mess with it too much. And doing long exposures like that, the few minutes it'll take to change batteries and SD cards wouldn't affect the outcome of the video anyway, so thought it might be kind of fun. And it's not terribly expensive. They run about $140. A little more if you get the accessories, the waterproof cases and that kind of thing. But I thought it might be something fun to venture into. Take the whole entire winter and condense it down to about a 10-minute video or something. But like I said, I'm just trying out some new stuff. I mean, I understand the reason all of you have subscribed to the channel is just for the unrest, let's say, to put it lightly. But, there's not always that kind of stuff going on anyway. There is a lot of downtime, especially in the winter and all of that. So I try to find different things to do. And actually, wintertime is some of the clearest, skies I could possibly get at night. So the Skywatches are real good, and there's actually some good meteor showers in the wintertime. So I can do that kind of stuff if y'all like. Something just, like I said, a little bit different. Playing around with it. I'm not changing the subject or format of the channel, but I can always add to it, make things a little different. This kind of goes along with the video I made a few days ago on the solar observatory in Sunspot, New Mexico that was shut down. Post office was shut down. From what I've read, that location's been reopened, even though no one there has a clue about why it was shut down to begin with. Even the local sheriff was kind of upset that the FBI come in and shut it all down with nobody knowing why. There were 7 other observatories around the world that were shut down. NASA's solar observatory was temporarily offline for an update, they claim. Kind of an odd time to do an update, obviously. And NASA just sent the probe to the moon, or to the sun, I mean. And there's a video that I made, like I said, I made a video on it, and it shows the pictures from the article that I had read. See if I can find it. Here it is. I'll post it and you can check it out if you want. But it shows what appears to be a very weird object, disc shaped, right beside the sun. Supposedly this was a photo taken with an iPhone 8 with some kind of a lens adapter on it and posted to Facebook. So I don't know. I've got no way to check the validity of it, but I put it up there anyway. Like I say, I'm not going to confirm it or deny it. I put it out there for you to make up your own mind on that kind of stuff. Now, one thing I know that I can do is anything the White House puts out as far as videos go, live or otherwise, those are free for anybody to live stream, do whatever. As long as you don't edit it, it's fine. So I don't know if the White House YouTube page is showing the rally or out in Vegas or not, but I'm going to check, and if it is, I'll stream it. I don't know, like I say, I don't know if they do that or not. It doesn't appear like it, unfortunately. I'll see if there's anything I can find that to where I can actually use it, maybe. I was hoping there would be a government feed, but I don't see anything. Give me a second here and I'll see if I can maybe find something that I can use. Not likely, but I'll try. So I'll see if they'll let me restream it. I'm going to try. There's a group, nothing started yet, but I'm going to see if they'll at least let me restream the audio. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. If I can at least get a response from somebody. I'm not, like I say, I'm not really seeing too much at the moment. Trying to see if somebody will let me use it. So bear with me for a minute here. But nobody seems to want to give me an answer if they'll let me use the audio or not. So I'm asking some of the admins if they'll allow me to use it. See if I can at least use the audio anyway. Leave the night sky up and listen to Trump at the same time. Okay, looks like they said that I can use it, so I don't know if it's even their actual audio or who it belongs to. But nevertheless, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and add the audio in here and see how this actually works. Let me know how this sounds, guys. I'm gonna switch it over here.
Here we go.
Alright, my camera is going to shut down here in just a second, so I'm going to have to go fix that, which it just did. I'll go fix that, and you can have the audio from this.
You asked me for a contribution. Well, you know, we all doing what we can.
All right, stand by. We're trying to see if we could if they were going to patch the feed of the Fox News mic through the PA system like they did last time at the last rally when he spoke with Fox and Friends. Apparently not. He's interviewing right now live on Fox News with Sean Hannity. If you want to tune in to that on FNC, but apparently it's a Fox News exclusive, so we're not getting audio from it. But we'll continue to show you as much as we can of him, and he will go directly, hopefully, on stage right after this. So stay tuned right here. Thank you all very much. Don't forget, another rally tomorrow night in Springfield, Missouri. Max Kleiber, Tom O'Neill already standing by, waiting for the conclusion of this. So stand by.
Or not last week, excuse me, the last rally they did. However, I'm not sure what the plan is tonight. It looks like he's speaking there with Sean Hannity right now. We can't hear them. I don't know if they're just, saying hello and it's a long greeting and then they're going to begin the interview, or they're already doing the interview and we won't hear it, which I'm wondering if maybe that's the case. I'm not really sure. Either way, we're going to hear from him in just a few minutes for probably an hour and 20, I would assume. And we'll hear him talk all about the economy, all things national security, border security. Yeah, it looks like they're probably not going to be putting this over the speaker where you guys can hear it. But
also, we got a few more donations that we wanted to shout out. Sandy Goranson gave $2. Thank you so much, Sandy, for that. And Jason gave $5. Who says,
okay, they're just yakking a little bit. I shall be right back in a minute. I got to fix the camera again. So bear with me for a minute. Okay, I got some pictures back here. Let me edit it a little bit to make it look a tad bit better. Like I say, I got some other lights on outside that play havoc with the camera, so that's why it doesn't look quite as good as it should. But for being in town, it's not too bad. As soon as the Trump thing actually starts, I'll run over to it. But for the time being, though, we'll sit here and look at the sky. Yeah, when I was just outside, I think I saw maybe 4 or 5 stars in the sky, and that was it. Behind me is Mars, and it's bright red. It's really bright, but the moon's back that way, so it plays havoc with it. I've caught the space station a couple times going by. That's kind of neat. But it makes it a little tricky to identify objects because the camera can be pointed at a weird angle, and left to right might actually be, you know, up and down or different angles. So it can make it a little tricky to figure out exactly the direction to be able to determine what it was, but usually I can figure it out though. I've never tried to actually determine what satellites that are buzzing by, but I'm sure they're all able to be figured out. It's all predictable anyway. I wish the camera had a different plug-in on it. It'd make things a lot easier, but it's just the old RCA jacks, the yellow video plug-ins, all it's got. But it seems to do the job, so that's all that matters. I don't know how much interest anyone here has. I mean, there's only 7 of you here, but that you guys might have in, you know, outer space stuff, you know, UFOs, paranormal, all that type of stuff. And I'd actually considered doing a, I don't know how you'd put it, like a, not a show, but, you know, where people could call in if they felt like it, if they ever seen anything, or had a comment about, you know, the subject. Sort of like how some of the radio programs will do open lines certain nights of the week. Do something like that. Just be kind of fun. We could use Skype, or you can jump into Discord. It's got audio. That'd work just as well. Probably be easier. And if you wanted to say something, you know, everybody could hear whatever was on your mind. Just something kind of different, I guess. Always got to change things up once in a while. But yeah, if you haven't checked out my website, bounce over there and check it out. And I've got a Facebook page, and well, there's Twitter too, but I never use a Twitter one. I forget about it half the time. But if something ever happens and you can't get a hold of me, or the channel ain't around, or whatever, go over to my website and you can always send me a message straight through it, and it'll go to my email and I can respond that way. But yeah, I used to do a lot of these, but been a while though, like I say, so I wasn't even sure if my equipment even actually worked. I hadn't had it hooked up, and I just put a solid state SSD in it, so the computer works a lot better now. But not much going on. I mean, there's no meteor showers, none of that kind of stuff, so just the night sky in my neck of the woods. I'm going to change the title of the stream here. Let's see. Okay, so if you refresh, let's see. Then the new title should appear. Yeah. So I'm going to do the audio of the Trump thing once he gets started. He ain't doing nothing yet. Huh, somebody actually got an old flip phone in the crowd. But you know how it is, though. Most of the time in the winter, there's no protesting or none of that mess going on. So I figured I would experiment and do something a little different. You know, when you got the night sky on the screen, you can pretty much talk about anything. Really isn't a whole lot of subject matter to it, so we can ramble on about any topic you guys want. It doesn't matter. Now I did request anyway, they said it would take at least a month for the channel to be allowed to be remonetized, which was super chat, ads, and all that mess. But the only reason I done that was I thought that was the only way to get my money freed up. Well, obviously it wasn't. So whether I'm approved or not, I'm not going to remonetize the channel. It's just too much hassle. And I'm still working on my Bob Ross tribute video, which has taken forever, but it gets a little monotonous at times, so I quit for a while. Editing all 31 seasons, everybody seems to like when he beat the brush. So I'm editing all the brush beatings out from all 31 seasons. And there's 13 episodes per season. As of right now, I'm about halfway done through with season 18. So I got a ways to go yet. But in the future, though, if anybody ever feels like, you know, dropping a nickel or two my way, you can still use PayPal. If you don't have PayPal, then you can use this one. Square Up. Either one. They're all in the descriptions anyway, so. But Well, like I said, it hasn't been much going on. Got some lights of something flashing. Let me go see what's going on outside real quick. And I will be right back. Got the bright moon behind me and some passing clouds, so it made the camera flicker a little bit. I guess this thing's super sensitive, but it's a digital night vision, and I like it better than the standard night vision because you don't have to worry about burning this one up if a bright light hits it. But if anybody's got any ideas of anything concerning the channel, let me know and I'll see what I can do. Any kind of suggestions or whatever, and I'm open to about anything. I didn't really expect too many people to be on the stream tonight, but I do appreciate the few of you that are here. This camera, if I remember right, usually will last about 7 hours or so on a set of batteries. So it does pretty good. They're just a set of rechargeables, but they're AA. Nothing too fancy. Just checking to see if Trump's ready or not, but it don't look like it. Not yet, anyway. Yeah, I've just been trying to still take it easy from the little minor surgery thing. For once I can say I was one of the dummies that didn't have any common sense. I don't know if they have the app for Apple or not, but I know they got it for Android. There's one called Sky Map, and it'll tell you anything you want to see in the night sky, which is pretty handy. Put in your location, and then just, you can type it in or just hold your phone up to where the object is, either one. But if you want to find, like, Mars, type it in, it puts a big red circle with an arrow on your screen. You move it around until you get the object in the center, and there it is. So it makes it kind of nice. Astronomy is definitely a fun hobby, but I don't have anywhere where I can set up a good telescope or anything like that. That kind of stuff, you got to set it up and leave it alone. So I just use this little night vision thing here and catch what's ever, you know, near Earth orbit. There's a satellite on the screen now. You see a satellite, Shane? There is one of those buzzing by. Probably be off the screen here in a minute, but there's another one coming by. That might be a plane there. As bright as it is, I think that one's an airplane. Sometimes it can be tricky to tell. Usually the planes will blink, and that one there is hard to say. But they're definitely fun to watch, though. See a lot more of them than you realize, and every once in a while you'll see them in a triangle formation or different shapes like that, and the satellites are tethered together. They're small satellites, and they're set up in sequence, so basically when the battery is going to die on the first one, the second one turns on, does its thing, and right on down the line. If you've got the money, anybody can, you know, throw a satellite up there nowadays. A couple outfits out of Arizona that launch them. I mean, they're not cheap, but they're not millions of dollars either. I talked to the company on the phone, and they said that's how a lot of billboards are done now. The digital ones you see along the, you know, highways or whatever, or in big cities, a lot of those were programmed by satellite. Because they don't really check what your satellite does, or even if it works. You build it, and they got a few off-the-shelf options, but mostly you build it, they launch it, that's that. California is supposed to launch a satellite sometime. They were talking about it, trying to prove about this climate change thing, because they want to make Trump look like an idiot, because he's saying, you know, no climate stuff. Alright, Trump's just about ready to start yakking here. He just walked up to the podium. So I'm going to shut up and let Trump do his thing. But I'm going to leave the same sky on the screen, though. So he should be just about ready. They always got the music and all that. Well, here we go. I'll come back after this is all over with.
Hello, Las Vegas. How are you? How is everybody? We love Las Vegas. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm thrilled to be back in Nevada. To say that name just right. With thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. The people of Nevada love our country, honor our values, and always respect our great American flag. And except for a lot of the fake news that you see from these people back here, this is an incredible time for our country. America is winning again. America's being respected again. Because we are finally putting America first again. We have the best economy in our history. And I have to tell you this. If our opponent got into office, which would have been a very sad, sad period of time, instead of your... It is a pretty sad day, isn't it? Don't worry, it's all going to get better. It's all going to get better. But if our opponent got into office, your 401ks, instead of being up 52% in a short period of time, would have been down 52%. That's what was going to happen. That's what was going to happen. That's where it was going. Wages right now are rising, and poverty is plummeting. You see it. Poverty is plummeting. Jobless claims just hit a 50-year low, 50. And the stock market today just hit another all-time high. We're fighting every day for our factories, our ranchers, our great miners, our farmers. And we are now the largest producer of energy in the entire world. And it's not by luck. We're rebuilding our military. We're crushing the terrorists. And we're taking care of our great veterans. We're taking care of our veterans. We've also just identified the first remains of our fallen warriors from North Korea. These incredible heroes can now lay at rest in American soil. A lot of progress being made on North Korea. A lot of progress. Do you remember before I came in, it looked like we were going to war with North Korea. Now we made a lot of progress. Relationships are getting better and better. And we have our hostages back, and there's no more nuclear testing, and there's no testing of missiles and rockets over Japan. We're doing well, and we're getting our remains back. Very important. We believe no American should be left behind. So we have midterms coming up. And you remember when we had that great election almost 2 years ago. Can you believe it? And you remember the tears from the fake news media when it was obvious that we were going to win. And you know what? They're still crying. Look at them. They're still crying. They're still crying. And let them cry. They don't know what the hell happened, but it happened, and that's why we're setting all-time records. That's why we're doing so well. But we have to get out for the midterms. Promise me. You got to get out for the mid. Don't be complacent. You got to get out for the midterms. You got to vote. You got to vote. We need more Republicans. You know, when they say we have a majority, it's like this. It's like this. If somebody has a cold, we don't have a majority that day. It's like we have to have more Republicans in office. We'll get everything we want so fast. We've got to have it. So tonight, we are joined by some really terrific friends of mine and Republican leaders from the great state of Nevada, including two great candidates for Congress, Crescent Hardy. Crescent? Where's Crescent? And somebody that's been supporting me a long time. And he has shown such incredible stamina and loyalty and friendship. And we got to get him to win this race. Danny Tarkanian. Danny. Thanks, Danny. What a great guy. Thank you, Danny. And Danny, thank you for everything. You really are. You've done a great job. Thank you, man. They're going to get you in. Vote for Tarkanian. Also, your next governor, a very popular guy in these parts with a great family, Adam Laxalt. Adam. And another friend of mine who really was outstanding because, you know, I have a little, to use an interesting word, bias for this area. I love this area. You know the word bias? They've been talking about bias. Is there bias? Yeah, there was a lot of bias. You know that. But I have bias for this area and also for our great GOP chairman, Michael McDonald. Now, I have to say this. We started out. We weren't friends. I didn't like him. He didn't like me. And as we fought and fought and fought, believe it or not, we started to respect each other. Then we started to like each other. Then we started to love each other. And the fact is, he has been a tremendous supporter ever since I won the election. He's always been there. We can count on his vote. I mean, Wacky Jackie will never vote for us, folks. Never. She's wacky. She's never going to vote for us. You can count on his vote for Second Amendment, for tax reductions, for regulation cuts, for judges. Oh, look at our judges. Oh, what's going on? You know, one of the reasons I was elected was because you believed that I was going to pick great Supreme Court justices. And Brett Kavanaugh and I'm not saying anything about anybody else, but I want to tell you that Brett Kavanaugh is one of the finest human beings you will ever have the privilege of knowing or meeting. A great intellect, a great gentleman, an impeccable reputation, went to Yale, top student, went to Yale Law School, top student. So we got to let it play out. But I want to tell you, he is a fine, fine person. So, and he's got tremendous support. I can tell you that, tremendous. Just like Neil Gorsuch, who's now on the Supreme Court, has tremendous support. So we'll let it play out, and I think everything's going to be just fine. This is a high-quality person. And a man that agrees with that, and right now, his vote is more important than mine because he's got to help Brett get in. And I'll tell you what, he respects him just like I respect him. But with Dean, we can count on him. With Jackie, she's never going to vote for us. She may talk it. She even says, you know, a lot of the states, like where they like Trump, these candidates on the other side, they get up and they talk nicely about me, but they're never going to vote. They say, oh, Trump's wonderful. We like him a lot. You know, I won the state by like 34 points. And they get up and they say, oh, we like him a lot. He's great. He's wonderful. But they're never going to vote for us, so it doesn't matter. I'd rather have them say bad things about me and give us their vote. They're never going to vote for us because they're voting for Nancy Pelosi. They're voting for the new de facto leader of the Democratic Party, Maxine Waters. And they're voting for crying Chuck Schumer. Crying Chuck. Whereas your incredible Senator, Dean Heller, is going to be with us all the time. Come on up here, Dean. Come on up here, Dean. Dean Heller.
Hey! Boy, does this president know how to pack the people in one room? This is incredible. Mr. President, I think you just turned Nevada red today. Mr. President, welcome to Las Vegas. Home of the Running Rebels. Home of the Golden Knights. And the future home of the Las Vegas Raiders. Mr. President, we have 300,000 veterans in the state of Nevada. They're in front of us and they're behind us, and we're thrilled to have them with us today. They want to thank you for delivering a better healthcare system at the VA. Mr. President, our veterans want to thank you for giving them the benefits and the support that they deserve. And Mr. President, we have thousands of military men and women that serve here in the state of Nevada. They want to thank you. They want to thank you for funding our armed forces so that they can do their jobs and serve our country. Mr. President, our military men and women want to thank you for the largest pay raise in the last 10 years. But most importantly, Mr. President, thank you for putting Nevada back to work. Because of your administration, Nevada families have more money in their paychecks. Nevada families have more money in their pockets. And Mr. President, because of this stock market that you just mentioned, they're doing better with their pensions and their 401ks. Mr. President, it's an honor to work with you and putting Nevada back to work. Thank you very, very much, Mr. President.
Thank you, Dean. Thank you, Dean. Thank you, Dean. And Dean really is a champion. And I can tell you, I work with him. He's a champion for our workers, our families, and for our veterans. And we have to keep him. He led the charge in Congress to pass the most significant veterans reforms in half a century, including the VA Accountability Act. You know what that is? That means people that work in the VA are accountable if they don't treat our veterans well, if they don't do a good job, if they're sadists and you have that, if they steal and you have that, we say sorry, but you are fired. Before, you couldn't do that. You couldn't do it. Now you can do it. That's been 45 years they've been trying to get it. It doesn't sound like much. It's everything, so much. And most importantly, 46 years, VA choice. This is where a veteran has to wait long periods to see a doctor. No longer. They now go and see a private doctor if there's a line. They don't have to wait for 12 days, for 20 days, for 40 days. They go see a doctor. We pay for the doctor, and they get taken care of. They get taken care of. And Dean has led the effort in Congress to fully fund Veterans Affairs. It's a big deal, and he's been really great. He really has. So I just want to say there's been no better friend. We started off slow, but we ended up strong. I've had no better friend in Congress than Dean Heller. So thank you. Thank you. We've got to elect Republicans. That means a great congressman, potential congressman, and we have to get Dean to fight for Nevada, to fight for our heroes, and to help us make things honest around here. You know what's going on. So we're going to drain the swamp. Drain the swamp. Early voting, so important. Early voting starts in exactly 1 month, October 20th. So you can vote early, but you got to get out and vote. And remember this, Dean's Democrat opponent, Wacky Jackie, Jackie Rosen, she doesn't get it. Jackie Rosen is bought and paid for by her donors, 100%. She doesn't even want to go to a debate with Dean. She doesn't want to debate. I said, hey, Dean, when's the debate? And he said, she won't debate me. That's not good. That's not good. Rosen doesn't represent Nevada's values. She represents the extreme liberal values of her out-of-state donors, funding almost 90% of her campaign. But even that, just so you understand, she's going to do whatever Pelosi and Schumer tell her to do, okay? It doesn't matter. Every one of them, they come in and they say, oh, we want to be bipartisan. They never vote for us. Jackie Rosen voted no on tax cuts. You know that. She voted for the disaster, which is really being changed rapidly. You know, we got rid of the individual mandate, the most unpopular thing. The disaster known as Obamacare. Jackie Rosen voted against Kate's Law. And she voted in favor of deadly sanctuary cities, which nobody wants. And Jackie Rosen voted against the VA Accountability Act. How do you do that? How do you do that? So she really, if you think about it, she voted for criminal aliens against veterans, for criminal aliens against citizens of our country. That's where she is. You don't want it. You don't want it. A vote for Wacky Jackie is a vote for the extreme agenda of those people. That's Pelosi, Schumer, Waters. It's a vote for more taxes. Seriously. It's a vote for more taxes, more crime, and more onerous regulation, which stops everything from happening. You know, we cut regulations more than any administration in the history of our country, and I did it in less than 2 years. And it's one of the reasons that you have all of those jobs. It's one of the reasons that you can now go out and look for another job if you're not happy, because everybody wants to hire you and you're getting higher wages for the first time in 21 years. The new platform of the Democrat Party is radical socialism and open borders. And I won't allow the United States of America to become the next Venezuela. That's what they want to do. So, we started the wall a year ago. We've done a lot. We've rebuilt a lot of sections of wall in San Diego and a lot of areas. We're starting a big brand new section. We spent $1.6 billion, then another $1.6 billion. Unfortunately, sadly, because of the Democrats' obstruction, only $1.6 billion. Sounds like a lot, but it's not when you're talking about what we're talking about. $1.6 billion was just approved. I'm not thrilled, but after the election, they're all telling me we're getting our wall the way we want it. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Let's see if they produce. In this election, and by the way, we want that wall. We want that wall. You know where I am. I could knock it out because I do that well. That's what I do well. I build. We could knock that wall out in 1 year if they gave us the funds. I'll tell you what, though. If you look at Schumer and these people, even though they know you need the wall, they all voted for the wall in 2006. They voted for border security. And then they found out, oh, gee, maybe from their standpoint they can't do that. But they all voted for it. Hillary Clinton voted for it, right? Remember her? But I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this. Everybody knows. How is our Justice Department doing? So they all wanted the wall. We're going to get the wall. But it would be a lot easier if you get Republicans in there to vote, please, okay? A lot easier. Because their whole agenda on bigger things we can get. You see what we've gotten. We've got things that we got $700 billion to rebuild our military. We then got $716 billion to rebuild it second year. $716 billion. But their whole agenda, they know we want the wall. They want to oppose it. They want to obstruct it. They want to resist. You know the campaign? It's called Resist. Honestly, they're lousy politicians. Their policy is terrible. But they're good at sticking together and resisting. That's all they can do. And you are witnessing it right now, but we're going to be victorious. You watch. You watch. It's all they're good at it. Resist. You know, they see the signs. Resist, resist. We're for building great economies, they're for resisting. That's what it's all about. But this election, you have to vote for candidates who really know what your heart says, what your values are. You have some great, great Republican candidates. And a lot of people think that I'm always angry at Congress. I'm angry at Democrats because of what they're doing to our country. I'm angry at Democrats because of what they do to our country. Today's Democrat Party is held hostage by left-wing haters, angry mobs, socialist fanatics, deep state bureaucrats, and their fake news allies. This is that's their best partner. That's their best partner. Right there. I can't tell you how dishonest and corrupt so much of the media is. I can't even explain it. Impossible to explain. Nobody would believe it. Nobody would. And I don't mean everything. You have some fine people, some fine reporters. I know them. Fine reporters. Look, all the red lights are starting to go off. You have some fine people and some wonderful, wonderful professional reporters. But I watch the coverage that we get, and it is so unfair. We could have the greatest success, like, for instance, in North Korea. We're doing great. We're doing great. Moving along. What do they say? There's nothing they can say. So they say, he met with them. That's a defeat because we met. They can't say anything else. We have the hostage. They said he met. So many things. They come up, and then they say, oh, it's not moving fast enough. They've been covering these Democrats for decades. They haven't done a thing. I left. What did I leave? 3 months ago? We're doing great. But these are people that will take a great story and make it as bad as possible. They'll take an okay story and make it horrible. So I cannot tell you strongly enough, that is the single greatest ally of the Democrats. Without them, they wouldn't be getting 5% of the vote. I'll tell you, it's true. It's fake news. Fake news. And you know, I have to say this. When I won the election, we won. I didn't win. We won the whole thing. We won. The New York Times, they apologized to their subscribers because they covered the election so badly. Because their subscribers say, how could this happen? He got nothing but bad stories. Because people don't read the New York Times. Because it's a dishonest newspaper. It's terrible. But I'll tell you what. When we won, they suffered. But I said, I got one thing that in interviews, I say, you know the good news? I'll start now getting fair press. And it happened for about a week. And now they're worse than they ever were. But it doesn't seem to have much of an impact, does it? Not much of an impact. So, the resistance, to an extent, because of them, is filled with anger because their policies have been exposed as failure. Real anger. The forces opposing us in Washington are the same people who squandered trillions of dollars overseas, who sacrificed our sovereignty, who shipped away our jobs, who oversaw the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of the world. That's what happened to our country. And we're now recovering. We're bringing back our jobs. We're bringing back our companies. In 2016, the American people voted to reject this corrupt globalism. Hey, I'm the President of the United States. I'm not the President of the globe. You voted to make America great again. We are making America greater than ever before, and it's happening before your eyes. Bitter Democrats and their establishment cronies have spent every single day since 2016 trying to undermine the results of this incredible, historic, presidential election that we won together. So we want to keep it going. And we want to do it the easy way. So this election day, go out there and vote. You got to vote. Everybody's got to go out and got to vote. I want to give a victory speech. I want to give a victory speech on the evening of Election Day, which is coming up very quickly. We're going to be talking about America. We're going to be talking about the greatness of our country. We're not going to let people undo the incredible job that we've done over the last almost 2-year period. So don't forget, early voting, folks, early voting, October 20th. Now, we need in this election to do something special. I'm not saying there's ever going to be a time like we just went through. And a lot of people say that you're complacent now. You win the presidency and you're complacent. I don't think we're complacent. And I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what I did. I'll tell you what I did. Last week, I said, update it. I said, update it. I want to show you, I don't believe there has been any administration, in the history of this country that has done more in 2 years, that we're not even up to 2 years yet, than our administration. Look at this. So I said, just write down some of the things. Each one, point, 4.5 pages, almost 4 million jobs created since the election. More Americans are now employed than ever recorded before. Think of that. Today, more Americans are working than ever before. We've created more than 400,000 manufacturing jobs. Remember when President Obama said you can't have manufacturing jobs anymore? By the way, he's campaigning again. That's good news. Because if that doesn't spur you on to work, you know, when I was running, I swear, I think he campaigned harder than Hillary Clinton. And we won big. 306, 223. Remember? There is no way, right? There is no way that Donald Trump gets to 270. No, we got to 306. Look, manufacturing jobs, which he said you'll never have again. I'm saying, why won't you have it? We're not going to make anything? These are the best jobs. You know, manufacturing, they're like the best jobs, the most important jobs. Manufacturing jobs growing at the fastest rate in more than 30 years. Economic growth, so they say. When I took this over, I'm telling you, it was a sick puppy. We were headed down. So last quarter, we hit GDP 4.1, adjusted upward 4.2%, right? Look, point. Look at this. New unemployment claims recently hit a 49-year low. You know what that means? Simple. That means people are working. They're working. You know this, you've been hearing, and now it's even better. African American unemployment has recently achieved the lowest rate ever recorded. What do you have to lose? What do you have to lose? Remember? Remember I said, what do you have to lose? People said, oh, that's not nice. I said, hey, I go through a chart. It talked about the highest crime rates, the worst education, the worst home ownership. I'd go through, and I just looked up one night and I said, you've always been with the Democrats. Vote for me. What the hell do you have to lose? Remember that? Right? Right? Hispanic. Any Hispanic here? I think so. Hispanic American unemployment is the lowest rate in history. Any Asians? Any Asian? Asian American unemployment recently achieved the lowest rate ever recorded in our history. You've heard me say this. Women's unemployment, I'm sorry. Recently reached, only the lowest rate in 65 years. That's not as good. That's not as good as history. Soon. This is important. Youth unemployment recently hit the lowest rate in nearly 50 years. So great. Under my administration, veterans unemployment recently reached its lowest rate in numerous decades, whatever that may be. Almost 3.9 million Americans have been lifted off food stamps. I mean, how good is that? Think of it. They live better, and it doesn't cost us anything, right? How good is that? We have companies now under the Pledge to America's Workers they're training under our vocational programs workers. There's never been anything like this. We have retail sales surged last month, up over 6% over last year. We signed the biggest package of tax cuts and reforms in the history of the United States. Big. As a result of the tax bill, small businesses will have the lowest top marginal tax rate in more than 80 years. That's not bad. We got, through a little work and a little coordination, the United States bid for the 2028 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles. We got it. That was us. We just got the U.S., Mexico, Canada. We just got the World Cup in 2026. We needed a lot of... I told you about the record number and history of regulations. That's such a big deal. We enacted regulatory relief for community banks and credit unions so they can now go and loan you money again. Last month, the FDA approved more affordable generic drugs than ever before in its history. And one of the things we did with the FDA is a thing called, I love the name, Right to Try. You know what that is? It was that if you were sick, terminally ill, and we had a drug in the hopper that looked like it was really working out, this country for 50 years would not let you use that drug. They'd say, no, it may harm you. Well, you're terminally ill. So they couldn't get, and there was a reason. I'm not that easy. A lot of liability, a lot of everything. Between the insurance companies and various different things, including government. I got it done. It's called Right to Try. So now, instead of if you have money, if you don't have money, you just go to your room. If you have money, I know people, they traveled all over the world begging for a cure. We have the greatest medical people, the greatest medicines in the world. Now you have the right to try, and it's going to work plenty. It's a big thing. We just secured $6 billion for the new funding to fight the opioid epidemic. $6 billion. You'll like this. We withdrew the United States from the job-killing, income-killing Paris Climate Accord. That was costing our country. And we have the cleanest air now in the world. We have the cleanest water. Remember this. I'm an environmentalist. I want crystal clean water. I want crystal clean air. That's what we want. But I also want jobs to come to our country. So that was good. We secured a record 700. Listen to this. We confirmed more court judges, think of this, than anybody. And we're going to get, we just got Neil Gorsuch, I told you. We're going to get Brett. We've got great people. Look at this. We moved the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem. We're protecting, remember they said, you'll never get that. They've said that about everything. You'll never get that, you'll never get elected, you'll never this. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner is Donald Trump. Oh. Remember the tears? Crying. Oh. Crying. Ladies and gentlemen, the next president of the United States. This is on television. And I say, oh, don't cry, please. I want to be happy. Don't cry. Now they're crying more than ever. Except, you know, they're torn. Number one, they're crying, but they're making more money than they ever made because of us, because their stocks are up. But you know what's going to happen with these? I tell them, about 6 months after we start, 6 months before the election, they're going to endorse Donald Trump for president. You know why? Because if they don't, those broadcasting companies, the New York Times, all of those, they are going bankrupt so fast. So they'll be endorsing this. They'll be endorsing. So I could go on for page after page after page. Look at that. Page after page. And to me, a big thing. We're renegotiating the worst trade deals ever made by any country at any time. So Democrats, I had to bring that out. Just boom, boom, boom. Why not? Democrats want to give welfare and free health care to illegal aliens funded by the American taxpayers. How about this clown in California who's running for governor? Don't think. Just think. Well, you got a lot of people from California that moved here. But how about this guy? Wait. He announces he wants open borders. That means just pour in. And then he wants to give them health care, education, everything. You know what's going to happen? California is going to have 1 billion people within a very short period of time. Now, think, and somebody has to ask, who's going to pay for this? And do you know how bad it's going to be? You talk about waiting online for the vets, which we solved. You'll be waiting online for 10 years. It's the craziest thing I've ever heard. Open borders, come on into California. All over the world, they're going to be pouring into California. Republicans want to protect the safety net for the truly needy Americans, people that need help, not for illegal aliens that come in to our country illegally. And when it comes to health insurance, Donald Trump and Republicans will protect patients with pre-existing conditions. We're going to do that. We want to do that. Democrats want to destroy Medicare with so-called Medicare for all. It's going to be bust before it even gets open. Robbing from our senior citizens. You know that. It's going to be one of the great catastrophes ever. The benefits they paid for their entire lives are going to be taken away. Republicans want to protect Medicare for our great seniors who have earned it, and they've paid for it for their entire life. They paid for it. The Democrat health care plan would force every American onto government-run health care and virtually eliminate all private and employer-based health care plans. In other words, you're going to have really bad health care. It's going to cost a lot of money. Their plan would cost $32 trillion and require at least the doubling of your federal income taxes, and probably much higher than that. The Democrats would bankrupt the safety net through totally unlimited and uncontrolled immigration. You will see crime like you've never, ever seen before. The policies of their party aren't just extreme. Frankly, they're dangerous and they're crazy. So what I want you to do, remember Danny and Dean and these people. You're going to go out and vote because we're going to take this country. And we're almost there. Remember, it's Make America Great Again, but very shortly we're going to be changing that logo to Keep America Great. Keep America. And we're going to lower taxes. We're going to lower taxes. They want to raise your taxes. They want to double and triple your taxes. And we are going to save, and we are going to cherish ICE. Democrats want to open borders, which equals massive crime coming into our country. Republicans want strong borders, and we want no crime. So, here it is. We're going to make our country stronger than ever before. We're going to make our country richer and wealthier, and you need that. Look at how well we're doing. We're not ever going to apologize to other countries for our great success or for our great country. You now have a president who is standing up for America. We're standing up for your values. We're standing up for Nevada. And we're standing up for our great national anthem. So we're going to do things. And you know what I've been saying. We're going to start winning again. We're winning now much bigger than I ever thought, at a much earlier level. Who would have thought this was going to happen? We thought it was going to happen, but not this fast. Remember this. All during our campaign, I said we're going to start winning again. And you're going to have your representative, Dean Heller, and you're going to go to him. We love this, don't we? And you're going to say, Dean, please see the president. Nevada is winning too much. We can't stand it. We just can't take it. And Dean's going to come to the Oval Office. He's going to say, Mr. President, please, sir, stop winning so much. The people of Nevada can't take it any longer. And what am I going to say? I'm going to say, sorry, Dean. We're going to keep it going. Look, here's the story. We really have turned it around. We're respected again as a country. Every time a person comes into the Oval Office, a president, a king, a queen, a prime minister, they say, Mr. President, congratulations on what you've done with this country. It's true. We've never seen anything like it. All the time. I mean, almost all. I have to be a little bit, otherwise they'll get. Almost all the time, they say congratulations. Some of them are saying that they're emulating us. But most importantly, again, we are respected. We are really respected for what we're doing. And it's been a long time since our country has been respected. But we're respected again. So, I love this state. I love the people of this state. I was here a lot. I was here a lot before I did this political thing. By the way, how did that work out? That worked out okay. But please remember, it can be very fragile if you have the wrong people in Washington, D.C. It can all end very quickly. Bad things can happen to the economy very quickly. It doesn't take many bad decisions, and they will make all bad decisions. We can't let it happen. So I give you a pledge We're going to work harder than ever before. We're going to work smarter than ever before. We are going to do things that nobody thought was possible, and that's already started. So go out and vote. You're not letting me down. I'm never, ever going to let you down. Thank you very much. We'll be back very soon. Vote for Danny. Vote for Dean. Vote for all of them. We need Republicans in Washington. We're going to keep it, whether it's from Las Vegas to Reno to Carson City. We need every Nevada patriot to go out and vote. Go out and vote. We will keep it going. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Good luck. Thank you.
Wrapping up remarks there are President Donald J. Trump on the stump for Dean Heller in Las Vegas, Nevada. Beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. What a crowd tonight. The place was packed as always. I want to let you know that RSBN has been behind our president since the beginning. We were there in 2016. We followed him all around the campaign trail, worked directly with his campaign, and we are proud of that here. We love Fox News. We really do. They do.
Hey guys, sorry about that. I was out there adjusting the camera and everything. I apologize for that. That's about as best as I can get it to look right now, considering the brightness of the moon and all that stuff. Well, Trump done pretty good though, as usual. He can always fire up a crowd. But it's, like I say, not much going on tonight, so I thought for a little bit I'd play around with the old night vision there. At least I know it still works. So if we get a meteor shower or anything coming up, I'll have to look, but if the conditions are right for it, then I'll live stream the meteor shower. Those are always fun. I know there's some in the latter part of the year, November, December. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully we'll get some clear skies. But since Trump's done and everything, for tonight anyway, I might go ahead and just call the stream here if you guys want, or I can stay on, you know, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like I say, just kind of a slow night. At least around here anyway. There was a crazy article out today about Beyonce, which I don't care anything about her, but her former drummer put a restraining order on her. A witchcraft restraining order. Saying she put these like spells on her and killed her cat and all this stuff. Man, I don't know. It's hard to say what kind of ritual stuff them type of people are into. You never know. But it's been 2 hours, and I think I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Get a little sore setting too long anymore. Got to try to get doing better. I go back to the doctor Tuesday for a follow-up, and then Saturday's first day of hunting season, so hopefully I can go. But I'll find out. So for the 6 of you that's on here, hope you have a good rest of your evening or night, morning, wherever you're at. Stay safe, and I will catch you guys next time. Take it easy, guys.